everybody, and welcome to another episode of the podcast. I have with me a very special guest, a former businessman turned tree hugger, if I can say something like this, that tries to save the world in his own way. Nimrod May, how are you, sir?
I'm very well. Small piece of information that you don't necessarily know is that I've added the name Abraham or Avraham to my name, which
Yeah.
was actually organically added on the 8th day since I was since my birth. By the guy who was supposed to make one of my organs a bit shorter. He didn't want to circumcise me under the name Nimrod. I don't know if you know the story of Nimrod in the Bible.
He
And
was a very rich man, also. He was a king.
he was a king. He was known to be as a very talented hunter. Rumors say he was hunting with his lips, with his tongue. He was a
Damn.
marketeer, and he was at the beginning. He was very favored by God, but then his ego, I guess, led him to not a very desired place where he thought he is as great as God, and he built the Tower of Babylon, which is why we're talking in different languages, and that's why also the rabbi added the name Avraham on the 8th day, and Avraham was a man of kindness and love, and I follow those two names as a marketeer and as somebody who wants to champion love and kindness to this world.
Yes, so like the mythos or the myth of Nimrod, who built the Tower of Babylon, you're trying to create one language, shall we say, but there is a problem. There is another problem that always exists. It's like a Damocles sword that is hovered over humanity for its entirety, in the from its inception, shall we say, to the modern day, that humanity has suffered from this, and this is called like culture. In some senses, it came from religion, and religion has a lot of benefits and a lot of downsides also to it. A lot of evil has been done in the name of religion, because I don't want to talk about religion necessarily, but if you want to expand a little bit about um, about the titular years, shall we say, of humanity.
So rightfully you said religion can be a double-headed sword. For me, religion is no more than, I would say, a very complex toolkit to practice the relationship between a soul which was transcend from another dimension into the known universe where we live, and religion tries to give you the do's and don'ts in order to make your stay in this universe beneficial. However, it has been used by, I would say, people with sinister and dark, I would say, motivations in order to create some kind of ruling over people in order to basically, one, manage them, two, gain power, and three, gain a lot of capital, which basically is a vicious circle. So
Taxes,
we need to be very careful by who we choose to be our guide of understanding what is expected from us. And this is where I do my own soul search in the last 13 years to try and get the best out of Judaism and the best out of Islam and Christianity, and basically they all are laid in this, I would say, on the same foundations, especially if you go into the metaphysical the metaphysical practices and writing, such as the Judaism Kabbalah and the Islam Sufis, and Anthroposophia and Buddhism. They all rely on the same foundation, and that we are sent here in order to create some kind of, I would say, positive conversion, transcendation, basically to make some kind of correction in order to have an energetic uprise, probably on other levels and dimensions that we exist as well, our consciousness exists as well. And that's the story of reincarnation, and that's the story of the souls that's being sent here over and over in order to make this amendment, correction, and positive conversion of energy.
Yeah, that sounds great in theory and on paper, and I think I think it's hard to describe the lives of people accordingly with some text or a culture or a religion they belong to, because you have to transcend above the fray, shall we say, above the fray, above the, I think, the linear layer of existence. Um, I think that art tries to do that, because a lot of people have a wrongful perception of art. It seems to them like some kind of a elitist leisure time hobby, shall we say. Maybe something connected with colonialism, when you talk about archaeology and stuff like this, and um, trying to own a different culture, especially if you're a Westerner who is in an Eastern setting, Occidental to Orient, shall we say. So, what do you think about all the holistic kind of pseudo religions, modern religions, shall we say, like the yoga, like holistic medicine, like acupuncture and stuff like this, that Westerners seem to be very fond of, but don't see the actual origins of those practices?
So first of all, I'm not sure that they, when generalizing, that everybody is not going into a more deeper understanding of these, let's call it pseudo practices. I think everything that increases the
Yeah,
level
the
of
new
spirit,
age, the new age, yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
So basically, I think that people, when they wake to the spirit, it's a tipping point which can basically help more and more people overcome the challenges of being a human being, and knowing that there is a greater thing and existence, and the fact that your lifespan on this earth is not going to be the temporary physical presence of us being here, is only a positive thing. And the question is it a toolkit that they apply that will basically help them exercise on a daily basis spirituality, or is it a small trending episode in their life? I believe that people, once they grasp what spirituality and what spirit is, um, can really transform our day to day into almost an act of magic, living in a magic show. Yeah, I can share this from a personal perspective. I was a complete atheist. At least I remember myself as an atheist, and that's the story I told myself since I was I was able to remember my thoughts. Let's say the age of 10. Um, and at the age of 36, now I'm 47, I woke up to the spirit due to a very unique event that happened in my life, which for me was the eye opener. And I was so fascinated by realizing that there is an existence of a divine source that for me it led into a much more, I would say, deeper pursuit of understanding and knowledge, which basically is now also a part of my day-to-day life and the way that I do business, conduct business. Let's say 13 years ago, I conducted business from a very materialistic standpoint. And today I apply, before anything else, I apply a lot of I would say, metaphysics and alchemy to understand what would be the end result of the businesses that I pursue. And I'm trying now to be very present in businesses that are championing love on this world. I invested in a company that's making medical service very affordable and accessible for Americans, for 40 million Americans who are uninsured or they suffer from the misalignment in the healthcare system in the US. I help an aerial firefighting technological startup, and it's basically here to solve the problem of wildfire spreads like we are seeing now in California, and the horrible results in Australia and in Canada as well. So most of my day-to-day doing, and also the people I attract are I would say more aligned with my views on how we should walk and talk on this planet. So I invite everybody to experience the amazing new point of view where you put the spiritual understanding in your mind and your heart and your soul, and that creates what I just call the magical rest of my life.
Yeah, magical rest of your lives, and our lives should be entrenched in magic in some ways, but we're not headed in that direction. Where my podcast is called the Thoth, the Scribe. He was a holy man, the god of scribes, of writing, and writing is basically a language. So when you try, in the past you had all those rishis and the Buddha and Jesus Christ and Abraham and Moses, who gave us the laws after they were basically hermits. They got out of the camp, shall we say. They got away from society to a different remote place where their thoughts could be heard clearly by themselves and nobody else. So, do you think that being alone, being the at the head of the spear, being a soul artiste, shall we say, auteur, in a very in a very washed up language. So, do you think it's better to be one of a kind, shall we say, and to be alone in your endeavor, or to put up a lot of people to work under you and to have I don't know, great influence on the world by sending out all those people to
So
teach, like Jesus Christ and Paul of Tarsus, shall we say?
um, it's a tricky question you're asking. I myself, I don't like the word, for example, gurus, and I don't like
Neither do I. Neither do I.
to rely on guides, spiritual guides or materialistic guides or whatever. So to answer your questions, first of all, being alone, it has its, I would say, very positive outtake. When you're alone, you can basically connect better to higher consciousness. And because when you let your mind free, and when you so-called meditate or basically make the unnecessary voice in your head go away, this is where you're able to connect, I would say, to higher sources of information. You just mentioned Moses or Abraham, you know, the burning tree, the burning bush. I think they were using what is now known as psychedelics. I call them medicines.
Yeah,
in order to
it's called the acacia bush, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes, exactly. The acacia bush, and basically you extract the endogenic molecule called dimethyltryptamine, also known as DMT, the active ingredient in ayahuasca, and that creates a transcendation of your consciousness, your soul, into the source. But very, very important, I'm not indulging anybody to do any kind of medicines or drugs. Read everything you can about it before trying to, and I'm totally against any kind of illegal or prohibited substances. That's very important to state here. Putting this aside, it's known that the ancient Egyptian and the ancient Jewish leaders were consuming many of these, I would say, ego-killing medicines in order to get...
Hallucinogenics, yeah.
They're not. It's not the right term, hallucinogenics. They create they can create what you call hallucinations, but they're not hallucinogenics. LSD is a hallucinogenic. No, it's okay. It's okay. I've been studying a lot about it.
I'm not a doctor or a pharmacist. Sorry.
No, it's okay. So going back to the question, how you can basically affect more people in order to get some kind of, I would say, either a spiritual awakening or even to try and educate to the right values. And also, let's ask what are the right values. It can be very subjective and differs from one. Yeah, it differs from one culture to another. But let's say we can agree on, you know, some basic terms. Love is good, truth is good, being kind is good, being generous is good.
Big brother is good plus two. Yeah.
So the best way, if you ask me, to champion these values is by being one with them and setting an example. Just like a parent, the only way for you to be a good parent and educate your kid is by setting yourself as the example of what you want your kid to be. If you will yell, your kid will yell. If you'd be stressed, your kid would be stressed. If you teach him to love unconditionally, he will be a loving kid, or she. Obviously, I'm a father of 3 daughters, so very important. So in my personal journey, I'm trying now just to be present in my doing and to help by basically, either investing, advising, accompanying projects that are for humanity, such as I just mentioned, Antidote, the HMO, and the firefighting water dome, and another project that I'm involved called Snowflakes, which basically makes accessibility tools for the autistic population, an amazing venture. And last but not
Not the
the last
least,
for
not the
me,
least of
not the least
which,
for
yeah.
me, is the animated series that I'm in production, called God's King, telling the story of 4 superheroes coming from 4 religions, presenting Christianity, Hindu, Islam, and Judaism, and basically they fight against the evil doers of this world, at least what I consider as evil doing. So to answer again, be an example, be an exemplar, be Keanu Reeves.
Be Neo, yeah, be the Messiah.
Yeah.
the,
No,
the
no,
one, the
it's
one,
not only that,
the one.
but the guy, the actor itself, Keanu Reeves, is known also to be holding one of the most squeaky clean personas in Hollywood.
Yeah, I don't look. I don't know. I don't know. I have no idea. But from what it seems, it's a good picture being painted, shall we say, from the outside.
Yep.
Yeah, I can't
Guy,
wait. Yeah, yeah.
I need to leave because I
I
have a
know. I
call
know.
starting in 5 minutes.
I know. So I want to thank you so much for this talk, and I hope we can talk more in the future about more interesting subjects also.
I would love that.
Yeah, thank you so much, and
Thank you,
goodbye, and
Guy.
we'll see you on the next
Batzlacha. Good
episode.
luck with your
Thank you, Batzlacha.
podcast. Thank you. To you too, and
You.
be good. Bye bye.